What are my thoughts on the 2024 NFL first round quarterbacks? Let's talk about that. What is going on, guys? This is Wade here with Tongues Cat Sports, and we are back with another NFL video. Today, we're going to be taking an in-depth look at the 6 quarterbacks drafted in the first round, and then we're going to be looking at their college stats and then the offense of the NFL team that they are being drafted in. Of course, let me know your thoughts in the comments, what you think of each of these guys and my opinions. Make sure you turn on the bell, subscribe, hit that like button. And without further ado, let's begin with pick 1. All right, we will be kicking things off with Caleb Williams, the first overall pick of the Chicago Bears. He was the 2022 Heisman Trophy winner with USC. He started off his career as a freshman at Oklahoma in 2021, then went to USC following Lincoln Riley to finish off his career. He accumulated 72 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and 8,170 passing yards in college while at USC and Oklahoma. So we're going to be taking a look at his offense, starting off with running back DeAndre Swift. Wide receivers, he's got DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and Rome Odunze. And then as his safety net, tight end Cole Kmet. So you may see the little asterisks off to the right of individual players as we get further in this video. This just means that they were either new signings from the offseason or drafted. So DeAndre Swift, Keenan Allen. DeAndre came over in a free agent signing. Keenan Allen, he got traded from the Chargers. And then Rome, he was drafted 9th overall to pair with Caleb Williams. This has probably got to be the best offense that a rookie quarterback can be entering into, at least one that I can remember in my lifetime. I mean, he's DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. Those are both top wide receivers when healthy, of course. But these guys are game changers. DeAndre Swift is a solid running back. He started off with the Lions, did fine. Went over to Philadelphia last year, had a good year. And then Rome Odunze, he had an awesome career in Washington, paired up with Michael Pinnick. And then Cole Kmet, a really solid young tight end. He is really finding his game. This offense, Caleb Williams has no excuses not to succeed. Chicago is set up really, really well here. And if this turns into a Bryce Young situation, I will be really shocked. Whether Caleb Williams is an elite quarterback and will get the Bears to the playoffs and win some playoff games and win a Super Bowl, I don't know. It's still up in the air. He does have some negatives coming with him, really just personality issues. But aside from the personality issues, worst case scenario, he's kind of the Kirk Cousins mold where he's really good. Maybe he can win a playoff game here or there. I can't really imagine Caleb Williams not finding any type of success in Chicago. I would be really shocked. The Bears have done a great job setting him up for success this early in his career. He's got the keys. He's got the offensive star power to lead them, regardless of how the defense plays. And the defense is really good as well. So we can't forget the defense as well. The Bears have really set themselves up with a really good roster. And a large part of that is due to the Bryce Young Carolina Panthers situation just completely fumbling for the Panther side of things. But no matter how you feel about Caleb Williams, negatives or positives, I really, truly can't imagine him really not leading this team to the playoffs in year one. I know that sounds crazy, but if they don't make it to 500, I would be really shocked. I just think Caleb Williams will do great and not have any issues. And we could see him break a ton of Chicago Bear quarterback records this year, as he should, being the number 1 overall pick. Now moving on to number 2, Jaden Daniels, this is where we get a little more sketchy. He was the second overall pick by the Washington Commanders. He did end up winning the 2023 Heisman Trophy. He spent his first 3 years at Arizona State, his final 2 down in Baton Rouge at LSU. He had 89 touchdowns, 20 interceptions, and 12,750 passing yards to go along with 34 rushing touchdowns and 3,300 rushing yards. Moving on to his offensive personnel, we've got running back Brian Robinson Jr. and newcomer running back Austin Eckler, wide receiver Terry McLaurin and wide receiver Jahan Dotson, with newcomer wide receiver Luke McCaffrey, which, yes, is Christian McCaffrey's younger brother. And then tight end, we got old reliable Zach Ertz and then newcomer Ben Sinnott. So the Commanders, similar to the Chicago Bears, but not to that same level, they have built a solid, maybe above average offense. We'll see how much Austin Eckler has left in the tank. He looked pretty bad his final year in LA with the Chargers, but if he can be relieving Brian Robinson, there might be just enough out of Austin Eckler to kind of help Jaden Daniels. And then Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson as his 2 main wide receivers. Terry being he's good, maybe a little bit better than good, but we still haven't seen him hit that elite status. He's real close. He's had a wild quarterback history in Washington, though. I will give him that, but this is really his chance to establish himself as an elite receiver. Jahan Dotson, if Jaden Daniels has any success, it's because Jahan Dotson took a step forward after his sophomore slump. He slumped big time last year. And then, Luke McCaffrey, Commanders taking a chance, seeing what he can do. And then Zach Ertz, Ben Sinnott, again, couple reliable targets in the tight end game, which rookie quarterbacks always need, always love. This, on the other hand, Jaden Daniels, what type of success do we see with him in the NFL? You could see him be like Lamar Jackson, MVP type. That rushing is legit. The passing, sometimes he can get a little erratic, of course. Or we could see it fall kind of similar to RG3. I mean, I don't want to compare just because of the team, but, RG3, if this guy, he could get injured and then just really not be able to come back as the player he once was. So Jaden Daniels, in my opinion, has a lot. He can finish really, really good or finish really, really bad. As far as Caleb Williams, I really don't see his floor being that bad. So Jaden Daniels, will we see the Commanders in the playoffs this year? Personally, no, I don't think so. I think they are better than the New York Giants, but can they compete with the Cowboys and the Eagles? If Dak is with the Cowboys going into this year, which he totally should be, I don't see them coming in second or first. And if they're not second or first in the division, I can't imagine them getting a playoff spot. But they do have some pieces to try to sneak in there. Jaden Daniels, again, we don't know what type of quarterback he'll be in the NFL, but if he's anything like he was in LSU, he could make a statement in his rookie year. But I'd be looking forward to seeing him make more progressions as we get later into his career, rather than just coming in looking hot. Moving on to quarterback number 3 and the 3rd overall pick, we got Drake May. He was a 2-year starter at North Carolina. He put up 63 touchdowns, 16 interceptions with 8,000 passing yards. And he did dip his feet in the running game a little bit with 16 touchdowns and 1,200 rushing yards. This guy, he is kind of your prototypical pocket passer quarterback. When you think of NFL quarterbacks, I feel like you think of Drake May, 6'5", 220, just kind of that all-around build that you like to see. He could be similar to Josh Allen, where his supporting cast, at North Carolina just wasn't wasn't as great as guys like Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels had. Jaden Daniels, of course, having 2 rookie wide receivers drafted in the first round. Drake May did not have any wide receivers drafted in the first, second, third round. And I'm not even sure if they had any wide receivers drafted at all. I need to go double check that. But still, he put up what you kind of expected. Also, just a little side note, Joe Milton out of Tennessee, he also was drafted in the 6th round, quarterback. Although there is some speculation that he might be transitioning to tight end. This will be a very interesting year for Drake May. I think it's going to be similar to Mac Jones. If we look at that offense, there is nothing about that offense that screams success year 1 for Drake May. Probably nothing that screams success year 2 for Drake May. So again, Jacoby Brissett, he's probably the presumed starter going into the new year, and you probably don't want to see Drake May play until at least midway through the NFL season, as we don't want to throw Drake May into the fire because there's just nothing there for success. Ramondre Stevenson, probably their best player. He's a running back. I like Ramondre. He's got really good hands coming out of the backfield, but he is probably their best offensive playmaker. Kendrick Bourne, he's had his moments. He can't stay healthy. Demario Douglas, wide receiver, he's got to progress. Jalen Polk, maybe this guy is their best wide receiver or their best playmaker. Coming out of Washington, Jalen Polk, I believe he was the 2nd round pick. He did really good at Washington as well. And then KJ Osborne, he came over from Minnesota. He should probably factor into the offense quite a bit as well. And then Hunter Henry as a tight end, he's okay. He's not going to blow the top off the defense, but he'll have his moments. So again, this offense, I don't really see the Patriots winning more than 5 or 6 games, and 5 or 6 would probably be pretty lucky. The Patriots will probably again be picking in the top 5 this year. If I was New England, I would be trying to trade for a wide receiver, maybe T. Higgins, as the Patriots need someone who can at least go up and get a football. I don't see success happening anytime soon in New England. And I think if Drake May was to succeed, I have a feeling it will be because he's on a different team, because he got traded, or after 5 years he didn't sign with the Patriots. I could see him, again, a similar to a Kirk Cousins or Matt Schaub route, where they find success not on the team that originally drafted them. Let me know what your thoughts are. I think Drake May will be similar to that, because the Patriots are just so far behind in their development of playmakers and assets. Moving on to quarterback number 4, which was the most surprising of the draft, Michael Pinnick. He was the 8th overall pick. He spent his first 4 years at Indiana, finished off his 2-year career with Washington, had 67 touchdowns, 19 interceptions, and 9,500 passing yards. I do want to note these are just Washington numbers, as with Indiana. It was sporadic play, and then he also tore his ACL twice while in Indiana. So those passing yards and passing counting stats are just with Washington. And then curious, of course, the Falcons, they signed Kirk Cousins to a 4-year, $180 million deal in the offseason, literally about a month before the NFL draft. And then, of course, decided to spend the 8th overall pick on Mr. Pinnick. So again, like I said, quarterback Kirk Cousins right there, running back Bijan Robinson, wide receivers, he's got Drake London, Darnell Mooney, and Rondell Moore, and then tight end Kyle Pitts. So this offense, similar to Chicago Bears, maybe not as good wide receivers, definitely not as good wide receivers, but really good running back in Bijan, an awesome tight end in Kyle Pitts. No more Arthur Smith as the head coach, so we should finally, hopefully, see the Falcons offense be used as it should. But again, Michael Penix,
I mean, what are we doing, Atlanta? I understand. So what Atlanta is coming out and saying is that we have Kirk Cousins. We're in win now mode with Kirk Cousins, and we're not going to be in the position to draft a quarterback for Kirk Cousins' replacement in 2 to 4 years. That's basically what Atlanta's stance is with Michael Penix. And I get that, sure. But the playmaker on defense that they could have got, or even a trade, I can't believe they weren't able to get anything trade-wise, is so much more valuable than I think Michael Penix will become with Atlanta. So, again, I don't really understand this move. For Michael, I really hope this works out because the eyes on him are going to be massive. And, of course, Kirk, he is coming off an Achilles injury at 35 years old. All reports saying he's healthy heading into the offseason. But again, if Kirk does go down and Penix struggles within his first few games, the hellfire this man is going to receive is just going to be absolutely bonkers. Hopefully, if that even does happen, it'll be more on the Falcons and less on Michael. But again, I mean, this man, he's going to be 24 going into the NFL season. If after 2 years he hasn't played, he'll be 26, 27. And again, that's assuming Kirk Cousins, I guess, leaves or Atlanta parts ways with Kirk. So for Michael, this is going to be a very interesting progression. A lot of these this quarterback class in general, I think will be very interesting to come back to 2 or 3 years later, because there could be so many guys that aren't even in the league after 3 years, in my opinion. I think this is a draft class that got overdrafted. So because of that, I would not be shocked if only 1 or 2 of these guys are still in the league after 3 or 4 years. And unfortunately, Michael, with the spot he landed in, I could see him, again, not really sticking around. But for him, I really hope he does find success. And if that Atlanta offense, if it can stay healthy, then maybe he'll get success. But I don't know. We'll see. All right, moving on to the 5th overall player and 10th overall selection of the draft. We're looking at J.J. McCarthy, who got selected by the Minnesota Vikings. He was a 2-year starter at Michigan. Of course, they won the 2023 college football national champion. He had 42 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and 6,226 passing yards. So because of that, we're thinking, okay, this guy's more of a runner, right? Well, not exactly, as he also only had 10 touchdowns and 632 rushing yards. So not a lot of offensive production like a bunch of the other quarterbacks on this list. But he was probably the most successful of the quarterbacks drafted. Again, national champion. So he's definitely more successful than all the other guys, as none of them had won a national championship. But he was really, Jim Harbaugh, he asked him to kind of be Alex Smith, just a game manager. Michigan has a really, really good run game, as we saw that, of course, in the final few games of the season. And then in the championship and the playoffs, they were really good at running the ball. So JJ really wasn't asked to do too much. So this guy, for me, is again someone who I'm not really sure if that's going to translate to the NFL. Plenty of guys can come out and be game managers, but I mean, what are we doing? Are we looking at being 8-8, or slowly making the playoffs and then winning a game and losing? I mean, if that's what we're doing, then I feel like JJ is your guy. If that's not the goal, which it shouldn't be the goal, then I'm not exactly sure if he's going to push the Vikings to where they need to be. But looking at that offense, we have quarterback Sam Darnold. I expect Sam Darnold to play the first month If Sam Darnold is lucky, he'll get into month 2 of the NFL season. But knowing Sam Darnold's history in the league, J.J. will eventually supplant him as the starting quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings. And I think we'll see similar numbers to Michigan. Aaron Jones is the running back. Aaron Jones, I really like Aaron Jones a lot. I think he'll do fine in Minnesota. So I expect Minnesota to have a decent run offense. Wide receivers, he's got Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, and then tight end T.J. Hawkinson, who will be recovering and is currently recovering from an ACL injury. Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, though, these two guys are really, really good wide receivers as well. Justin Jefferson, probably the number 1 wide receiver in the NFL right now. And then Jordan Addison, he's definitely a top 24 wide receiver in my opinion. So this offense isn't very bad as well. Better offense than Washington, way better offense than New England. I think I'd rather have this offense than Atlanta. I think they slot in just below the Chicago Bears offense. So because of that, we could see JJ have a little bit of success. But like I said, I'm not sure if it's going to be enough success to win the division or even make a deep playoff run. Maybe in a couple of years, JJ can develop, but I don't really see it. This is, again, another quarterback that I could see in another 2 or 3 years. 1, he's not on the same team anymore, or 2, he's just not in the league anymore. Also, it will be fun, though, to see Chicago with Caleb Williams and JJ in Minnesota battle it out for the next few years. That will be a fun matchup, which I'm sure we will get. We'll probably see them battle each other out this year, of course, being division rivals. And then finally, finish it off with Mr. Bo Nix, the 12th overall pick by the Denver Broncos. Spent his first 3 years at Auburn, his final 2 years in Oregon. Obviously, he had the most offensive production of all these guys, with 113 touchdowns, 26 interceptions, and 15,000 passing yards to go along with 38 rushing touchdowns and 1,600 rushing yards. So this guy, he is the oldest quarterback of the draft, has the most experience of the quarterbacks of the draft. His offense is a struggle, and Sean Payton will be very interesting to see how Sean Payton handles this quarterback room. So we've got Zach Wilson and Jarrett Stidham, which I think Bo Nix has already beat out Zach Wilson, and then Jarrett Stidham. Maybe Stidham starts game 1 of the NFL season, but Bo Nix probably beats Jarrett Stidham. So Bo Nix will probably be the starting quarterback of the Broncos heading into week 1 of the NFL season. Javonte Williams, I like him. He's a really good running back. Courtland Sutton, he's had some really good seasons in Denver. Is it enough to help Bo Nix? I'm not sure, though. Josh Reynolds and Marvin Mims to finish out his wide receiver room, and then Adam Troutman as tight end. If you're confused on where Jerry Jeudy is, or if you just kind of missed it, Jerry Jeudy got traded to the Cleveland Browns during the offseason. So probably the Broncos' number 2 wide receiver is now not on the team anymore. So Josh Reynolds coming over from the Detroit Lions. He'll be okay. He'll have a couple good games. If the Broncos' offense and if Bo Nix is really able to have any success in Denver, it's not going to be because of Javonte Williams or Courtland Sutton. It's going to be because Marvin Mims, their second-round pick out of the draft last year, has taken a step forward. If Marvin Mims is still struggling to even get on the field, we're not going to see much success in Denver or much success out of Bo Nix. And personally, I do not see Bo Nix lasting more than 3 years in Denver. I think Sean Payton, he overreacted, overdrafted Bo Nix. And because of that, there's going to be too much pressure on him, especially in the division and in the conference he's in the AFC. So I think Bo Nix will unfortunately crumble in Denver. But you never know. Quarterbacks surprise all the time. But that's personally how I see things working out. So if you asked me who is going to have the most success of these 6 quarterbacks, I really do think it's Caleb Williams. I know that's kind of the easy pick, being the first overall selection, but I like what Chicago's building and on the offense and defensive side. And whenever you protect your quarterback enough, even if he is not a generational talent like Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady or Drew Brees, if he can be just enough to be successful, you could see him win a Super Bowl. So I do think Caleb Williams will be the quarterback who lasts the longest out of this group. And if you ask me which quarterback lasts the least amount of time out of this group, I'm going to go with Bo Nix, unfortunately, as I do not see him succeeding at all in the NFL, unfortunately. The quarterback I'm most anticipated or most excited to watch, I think it'll be Michael Penix. I think it's going to be a while, but I am most intrigued, most interested about how his NFL career is going to go.
And that will do it for today's episode, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Do you agree with how I have these quarterbacks playing out in their NFL career? If not, let me know. As always, this has been Wade with Tongues Cat Sports. Don't forget to be God above all. I'll see you next time.